Hello and thanks for staying with us. The Nigerian Customs Service has continued to speak to members of the public on why they must pay their correct duty to government. Also on customs support, more area controllers take charge of the various commanders approved by the management of Nigerian Customs Service. Plus, more report. I am Igiseme Etinye. Stay tuned. The Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service has continued to speak on customs record on how the service will continue to generate more revenue for the nation.
Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, MFR, is someone who is given to so much optimism. Not too long ago, he said emphatically that Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, under his watch, will rake in 5 trillion naira revenue in 2024. Few months down the line, he has already collected over 1.347 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2024. By dint of hard work and resilience, CGC Adeniyi has demonstrated that the service has the capacity to surmount obstacles and realize its objectives for a brighter future, irrespective of daunting challenges in the economic system. A whopping sum of 1.347 trillion naira realized by Adeniyi and his team in just 3 months is unprecedented in the history of Nigerian Customs Service. This is a clear indication that the 5 trillion naira revenue target is realizable. The customs boss, who announced the impressive performance during a press conference in Abuja, stressed that, in essence, the briefing underscored the persistent efforts to strengthen border enforcement, streamline trade, and foster economic advancement. Looking ahead with optimism, he says he remains assured that the NCS will maintain its position.
In the first quarter, NCS demonstrated remarkable performance in revenue collection. Total revenue collected during this period amounted to 1 trillion naira, 347 billion, 675 million, 608,972.75 kobo. The collection for the first quarter represents a substantial increase of 122.35% when we compare it to the same period last year, where we collected a total of 606 billion, 119 million, 935,146 naira. When we do a month-by-month analysis, it further illustrates our impressive growth trajectory. In January 2024, revenue collection surged by 95.6% when we compare it to what we recorded in January 2023. This upward trend continues until March, and we are going to give you the real figures at the end of this briefing. Now, when we relate this to federal government's annual revenue target of 5.07 trillion for the NCS in 2024, the target translates to a monthly revenue target of 423 billion. We are pleased to report an average monthly revenue growth by 6.2% over the set monthly target and a cumulative revenue collection of 18.6% equivalent to 78 billion 675 million 608,972.75 over and above the target of 1.2 trillion for the first quarter. On the second mandate of suppression of smuggling, we recorded a total of 572 seizures encompassing various items valued at 10 billion 593 million 99,654 kobo in duty paid value. Notably, the month of January witnessed 111 seizures amounting to 842.9 billion naira, while February marked the highest seizure numbers of 432 with a DPV of 3.7 billion naira. As usual, rice constituted about 40% of the seizures, followed by petroleum products at 25%, with motor vehicles and textile accounting for 9% and 6% of the seizures, respectively. During this same period, Customs detained 22 suspects, and appropriate legal measures are being taken in accordance with the Nigerian Customs Service Act 2023.
On anti-smuggling operations, in the first quarter of 2024, the service recorded a total of 572 seizures. Giving more details on export trade, the CGC said a total of 10,786 single goods declarations, SGDs, were processed in 2024 compared to 9,752 transactions in 2020, representing 10.60% growth in export activities. Notably, a significant portion of this growth occurred in January, with 4,067 transactions processed in 2024 compared to 3,352 SGDs in 2023, marking 29.69% increase.
At the last CG conference, notably enshrined in the Lagos Continental Declaration document, which highlights our collective efforts and collaborations towards our shared goals. It is imperative to highlight the ongoing support of the government, particularly in approving initiatives aimed at fulfilling the mandates of customs. Amongst these is the granting of a 90-day window to owners of uncustoms vehicles smuggled into Nigeria, facilitating the payment of appropriate duties on those vehicles into Nigeria. Members of the public are strongly advised to avail themselves of this opportunity to regularize their papers, as customs will embark on a very serious operations at the expiration of the window period to arrest vehicles that have questionable papers. Additionally, government's decision to reopen the northern borders with Niger Republic holds significant importance. This action is expected to boost trading activities along those corridors, with potential smugglers now reconsidering the legitimacy of trading through approved routes. This decision stands as a pivotal move. We are unequivocally committed to supporting the actualization of the 8-point agenda of Mr. President. This commitment is demonstrated through both direct and indirect contributions to key areas such as economic growth, improved security, upholding the rule of law, and fighting corruption. Noteworthy achievements include strengthening economic growth through optimal revenue collections to support government allocations to vital sectors, alongside the implementation of efficient trade facilitation measures. Our relentless enforcement officers, particularly those targeted at intercepting prohibited items, are important in enhancing national security. Moreover, we are steadfastly integrating technology across our operations to ensure transparency and accountability, addressing critical aspects of the 8-point agenda of Mr. President. Recently, NCS has prioritized food security in response to a presidential directive. This initiative is evidenced by the distribution of food items to vulnerable members of the society, commencing in Lagos and Kano and extending to other parts of the country to address very urgent societal needs. We reassure the public that transparency and accountability will remain paramount under my leadership, fostering trust and confidence in the service. In all of this, we are grappling with a number of challenges, and I'm going to share some with you. During the quarter, we encountered several systemic challenges that impeded our ability to fulfill our responsibility effectively. These challenges encompassed issues related to non-compliance with regulations, infrastructure limitations, and a notable decline in cargo throughput, evidenced by a 4.89 decrease in the volume of transactions handled during this period. In addition to this, significant fluctuations in exchange rates applied in the customs clearance of consignments posed considerable difficulties to our operations. As per our protocol, the exchange rates utilized by customs in the clearance of goods via the Nigerian Integrated Customs Information System, NICIS, is based on the rates as determined by the Central Bank of Nigeria.
He noted that it is important to highlight that the reforms discussed are part of the President's ongoing efforts to enhance port operations. A recent development is the introduction of a single window system, spearheaded by the Minister of Finance. President Bola Tinubu will soon inaugurate a steering committee with full implementation expected to commence by the second quarter of 2024.
The European Union is prepared to work with Nigerian Customs Service on ways to combat illicit trafficking in Nigeria.
In a bid to tackle the rampant issue of illicit trafficking and smuggling across borders, the European Union, EU, unveiled a groundbreaking initiative aimed at enhancing law enforcement and trade facilitation at the Nigerian Customs Service headquarters in Abuja on 16th April 2024. The project, titled Gateway Corridor, according to EU representatives Louise Jacques Blondo and Thierry Timor, is set to cover 10 countries, including Nigeria, with the goal of curbing illicit activities on the borders and suppressing smuggling operations. According to him, each participating country will designate a specific zone for the project's execution, which will involve 4 key phrases: identification, implementation, evaluation, and project ownership, ensuring alignment with local needs and priorities.
Structure around 4 phases. The first phase is that you would gather custom, for sure. Custom, I think, really has to be central in this project, but you would gather with 1 or 2 of the partner working with you on the road. It can be police, and together you would identify threats. The second step is to develop what I call a need assessment. In this need assessment, you would define training, equipment, maybe regulation if there is a need of regulation. So in the implementation, as I said, if there is a need for training, and if you have this experience, then you would be invited in priority. If an expert nominated by the custom would be invited in priority to the other country. And then the third step is to implement. So once it is implemented, the next phase is to evaluate. So the evaluation will be done by your team, but in cooperation with the other teams.
During the meeting, the Comptroller General of Customs, CGC, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, commended the EU's initiative, acknowledging its potential to significantly enhance the effectiveness of law enforcement efforts in Nigeria. He pledged the full support of the Nigerian Customs Service and other relevant agencies in ensuring the successful execution of the project.
That's quite appealing.
The fact that the project will be based on user requirements gives it a very strong appeal. When we walk across the entire sub-region from Dakar up to Yaoundé, we see a lot of infrastructural deficits, and the fact that the project is speaking to this infrastructural need means that it's going to easily align to priorities of our national governments. And good infrastructure drives trade. When we don't have infrastructure, there could be possibilities that people will want to sidetrack, people will want to leave the good roads and go in through places where they can smuggle things. And most importantly, there is also the strong appeal that agencies that are involved, the multi-agency approach, it speaks to a great opportunity for interagency collaboration. These are all very good.
Bashir
With the commitment of both the EU and Nigerian authorities, it is poised to make a meaningful impact in curbing illegal activities and fostering sustainable development.
You are watching the program Customs Report. The Assistant Controller General of Customs in charge of Zone A has officially declared closed a 1-month armed training workshop in Lagos. The Controller General of Customs was represented by the ACG Zone A. He used the opportunity to appeal Nigerian Customs Service to continue to make sure that the arms are used safely, not to use against the people. It speaks more on a number of issues.
Commend and appreciate all the officers and men, because as leaders, we cannot do it alone. The controller FOU, you have a lot of senior officers and officers working with you who have supported you and have made this possible. Same here for the commandant. So I would like to appreciate you and your men. My appreciation also goes to the instructors, the facilitators. I am a little short of words. Also to the participants, to say I'm highly impressed would be an understatement. Thank you very much. I personally, as an individual, have learned something new here today. There are things that I've never known that I've learned this morning. This kind of training gives me great hope for the service. In a short few months, I will be retiring from the service, but I can assure you what I've seen this morning, I know that my primary constituency, the Nigeria Customs Service, is climbing to greater heights.
I feel honored, I'm happy. What I saw today is an indication that we still have hope in the Nigeria Customs Service. The present crop of officers that just closed their training today, with what they have performed, clearly shows that we have hope and we should continue to impact such knowledge in our men. Rationale is because of the field challenges we keep having in federal operations. Most of the times we run into attacks, so it behoves on us to now look out of the box to ensure that we give them additional training that will further fortify our men against any illegal activity to be done on them by either smugglers or any of those state non-actors.
We've also introduced them into community engagement where the populace also were taken into cognizance in the training modules. We've also taught them on using communication, sensitization, particularly around the border community, where the fight is for us all. Smuggling activities affect the national security. Smuggling affects the economy of the nation, and every citizen should see this as a clarion call for us to have a safe environment so that businesses and other activities can strive positively.
The former controller of FOU Zone A has been speaking on a number of serious made while he was a controller in charge of FOU Zone A. So the goods worth billions of naira were intercepted during his tenure.
An uncompromising posture in the fight against smuggling and revenue recovery. You work both day and night to ensure that the successes we recorded were achieved. Unfortunately, while on legitimate duties within the zone's area of operations, 8 officers sustained different degrees of injuries, while 5 lost their lives in line of duty. May their souls rest in peace through the mercy of God. Amen. It is appropriate at this time to once again thank members of the press for being true allies by informing and updating the public about the activities of this unit. My journey of leadership of the unit that commenced on the 10th of September 2021 till date was a bit challenging, but above all, very successful. A part of the challenges encountered when I assumed duty newly was the continued rate of suspected smugglers' attack on officers while on duty. To mitigate against such levels of attack, the unit embarked on sensitization programs and courtesy visits to traditional rulers of border communities, which yielded a drastic reduction in the levels of deadly confrontations and attacks. Other successes recorded by the unit under my watch include improved suppression of smuggling by making more seizures and arrest of suspects to serve as deterrent to intending smugglers. Increased revenue recovery through meticulous documentary checks and issuance of demand notices on goods found to have underpaid. Enhanced trade facilitation by providing escorts for goods on fast track for compliant traders. From the 10th September 2021 till date, a total of 189 seizures were recorded with a duty paid value of 35,908,331,412 naira only, and a sum and about 386 suspects arrested in connection with some of the seizures. 22 people were convicted for committing different customs offenses. Prominent among the seizures, but not limited to the following: 222,285 by 50 kg bags of foreign parboiled rice, equivalent to about 370 trailer load of rice.
At the end of the conference, he officially handed over to the new controller of FOU in Lagos.
Pride, and I'm taking over from my brother. My squad mates, we entered the job the same day, 24/9/1991, and we have been going on together like that. So fate made it possible that anywhere he is, I'm always there. Where we are writing exam, we'll sit down together. That's why you see us wearing the same rank, sitting down together. So I'm just trying to be brief on that. Yeah, officers and men, don't take my face as tough as my mind. No. Some of you, 70% of the officers here are men, have worked with me, they know me. The only thing that makes me different from others is because I'm disciplined. And it's by virtue of where I've worked in the past. Even some members of the press who are my friends are here. Once you have worked in investigation, in CIU, that's our nature. You have to pardon us. It's not that we are hostile, because without the traders, we cannot be here. And at this juncture, I will try to promise everybody sitting here and before my Almighty God that I will be fair in discharging my responsibilities without fear or favor.
The former controller in charge of Idiroko Command has officially taken over as controller in charge of FOU Zone B. The outgoing controller has this to say.
Real is change. whatever started from the beginning, Udusum Panau, you start to finish. But for somebody like us, especially with the civil servants, whether public servants, officers and alike, it is a common thing. Change. We are here today, tomorrow we are somewhere. When you reflect back, you see how many places you have been to. Even some of you, or most of you who have spent only 1 decade and a half or thereabouts, because of you that have spent more than 3 decades in the service, about to go. So it's normal. My profound gratitude goes to Almighty Allah for sparing my life to witness this moment. May His name be glorified forever. Today, I stand before you, feeling with a mixed emotions as I bid a farewell to this incredible team that we already have at hand. My appreciation goes to the General Custom for the opportunity given to me to serve and also the task ahead.
But the new controller also speaks more on the subject matters at Zumbi.
All thanks and elegies are due to God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of abounding bounties. I'm profoundly grateful and thankful to the CGC, Bashir Adewale Adeni NFR, who have, in his own wisdom, deemed it fit to deploy me to Zumbi as controller. And equally the management of Nigeria Customs Service for their support all these years. My brother, my friend, Controller Wada, has achieved a lot in Zumbi. Though he didn't start today, he has excelled in everywhere he worked. From commands, Seme, down to Katsina, down to Port Harcourt Area 1 and Zone B. So it's a catalog of successes he recorded. So for me to come and take over from a colossus, well, I believe he's always ready to assist us anytime we call upon him.
The area controller in charge of Apapa Command has been speaking on its revenue generation as approved by the management of Nigerian Customs Service. So that its revenue has surpassed the first quarter of last year as approved by the management, saying that more revenue will continue to come into the government coffers this year.
Very much. You see, the ratio of physical examination or scanning is system generated. It's based on the risk factor built into the system. The only thing we ensure doing is that once the system selects for scanning, it goes for scanning. When it's for physical, based on the risk assessment of various importers, it goes to physical. The only thing we are doing differently is that we don't, once it is selected for a particular lane, we ensure that we follow it up and it's done speedily. So whether physical or scanning, we ensure that we do it speedily. And that has increased the confidence of stakeholders. Provision for advance ruling. So they can also come forward to engage with us. We are bringing in this thing. How do we do it? Then we educate them. That period of education will go a long way to reducing the clearance time, because at the time they are doing their declaration, they are doing the correct thing, so that the idea of wrong classification or whatever will not come. So we engage them, the stakeholders. We ensure that our officers also are alive to their responsibilities by ensuring that we don't keep cargo unduly. And you know, the time release studies has also put everybody on our toes to ensure that we don't keep documents unnecessarily on our table. So with that, that has boosted the confidence of stakeholders in the command. And by now, 9 o'clock, we agree, we sat down and we agree, 9 o'clock, and they're working to it. The other day I was scanning, they didn't even know I was coming. And I met them, I was just walking, I don't want to know that you're there. In fact, when I go, I don't go to the Terminal X office. I go to where the operation is taking place. If it's examination, I go to the examination bay, just stay there. So it's in the process of them knowing that I am around, you see them running. So that has kept everybody on their toes. They now know that the CSA can come unannounced. So this idea of late coming has reduced. This idea of you having work to do and lazing around has reduced because they don't even know when next you visit.
Just before the end of this week edition of the program Customs Report, we brought you a report where the CG of the Nigerian Customs Service continue to speak to stakeholders all over the country to make sure that the revenue they paid into the government account is properly accounted for. For me, Igiseme Itinye, thanks for watching.